Hello, everyone. I'm VJR Stewart, the creator of The Ways of the Caveman, and I'm actually starting a new series, the second installment in the trilogy. The Ways of the Caveman was the first installment. The Ways of the Warrior is next, which I'm working on now, and this is actually the maybe the first video from Ways of the Warrior. I'm not sure because it's a little different. And then, of course, The Ways of the Man God is last. And then I'll be probably done with that trilogy of videos. And I'll just probably do episodes where I just talk about pretty general stuff. And this may just be an episode. This may not be necessarily a Ways of the Warrior installment. So we'll see. You tell me what you think. Leave comments. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please support me on Patreon if you want to help out. The subscription there is very cheap, $5 a month, so it's basically nothing. But every donation kind of helps, keep the cave going. And actually, maybe you can't see it because I'm sitting in it. I used to sit on a very uncomfortable rock inside the cave, and very painful. I mean, it was hard to do more than 1 or 2 videos a day sitting on that thing. So my wife got me this really comfortable chair for me to sit in, which is what I'm sitting in now. So let's give praise to for the wife for coming through. And so as I'm sitting down with my iPad and trying to figure out, I'm thinking about the ways of the warrior, trying to map it all out. That's what I do. I generally map it all out, and then I go about recording the various videos. And as I segment my thoughts on and narrow in on each topic. And I had an inspiration and a thought. Now, I'm going to say that even though I'm a member of the Mental Society, I'm a very smart guy. We have a very high IQ. Last time I was tested, 186, not to brag, but that's very high. I can't take credit for inspiration. See, to me, inspirations are gifts from God. They are ways, because I think about things, I pray on it, and God never fails to deliver. I always wake up in the middle of the night with some thought, or as I'm going through my day, something pops into my head, and I know that inspiration, that thought, that try this out, came from God. It's just a way of pointing you, directing your path. And so I'm not one who believes that I'm so smart that I just come up with all this stuff on my own. I don't. Trust me, guys. I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. So actually, I'm no smarter than the average other person out there. Just some people don't realize how smart they are and can be and use their brain for other things. But anyway, back to the story. So today's video, the lesson from today's video, actually, as I was sitting there thinking about my topic, the song came to mind, Heather Hadley, the song He Is. Now, why? I don't know. Why that popped up in my head, I do not know. But I knew I had to act on it. So it popped into my head for a reason. The reason is not important. God say God works in mysterious ways. So I'm just going to chalk it off as one of those mysterious ways of God, of looking at things. So I want to start by, and actually this song, if it's not part of your playlist, it should be. I think that this is one of those songs. I think I'm going to, maybe with this series, Ways of the Warrior, come up with a playlist of songs that are warrior-inspired songs. And this is certainly going to be one of them. He Is by Heather Hadley. And so I'm just going to read through the lyrics. It reads like a church sermon almost. I mean, really. This could be the Ways of the Warrior sermon if there was ever a church of the Jimmy Stewart or the DJR Stewart, a Church of God. This would be one of the sermons I would deliver. So let's go through it. She starts the song off with a bunch of doo-doos, and I'm not that good. I'm not a singer. So I wish I was, but she started off the doo-doo. And she says, "Oh my, where do I begin?" She says, "Where do and how do I begin to answer the question I know you've been wondering?" And she's really at that point is addressing her friends. because the friends see a change in her. They see that something's different in her life. And she's telling them about her man. I assume he's her husband, but I'm just going to say her man. And they notice something different in her. And she's telling them about her man. And she's like, to answer the question, I know you've been wondering. She says, playing cool, cool, how could it all be true? Even she's kind of mystified. There's a wonderment going on here. How could it all be true? And so, she's telling this story about what he is to her. And even she's realizing, like, man, how could it all be true? And even her friends are kind of, so she's going to answer the question. And she says, these things, who's that, and what's it to you? And so let's answer the question of what he is. So this is what she's defining for him. So she's going to answer that question that's been on their mind. She says he's the mind objector and the heart protector, the sole defender of anything I fear. Wow. We talked about in the ways of the caveman that part of your job as a man is to protect, defend what's yours, your home, your family, your children. And you don't defend them by sending them out in the world and not knowing who they're interacting with at school, their teachers. You don't secure their freedom and their future by not taking charge of their development. By at least seeing them through and making sure they get a good education, because those things are needed. You're making sure they have the skills and the tools they need to survive as adults. And that's on you. That's on your shoulders. And the same thing with your wife. You look out for her also, and you defend her right to develop as a wife, as a woman, as a business owner, she wants to go back to school. So all these things are important. And all these things are things you have to defend. She says, the sole defender of anything I fear, the baby conceiver, the make me believer. See, most men are very good, especially those gamma types, are very good at convincing women on the make me believe part. The problem is that men have a hard time following up the words of making a person believe with their actions. Oh yeah, he can tell you how they're going to the moon, they're going to all these great, wonderful things. And a lot of women buy into that. They believe them. And to make me believe, they got that part down. They just don't have the walk down. And when she discovers that he's not all those things that he said he was, see, he is, she doesn't have a he is story. She did when you first met. Oh yeah, she was telling folks, he's going to do this, how great he is. She had a he is story at that point. Over time, when she saw exactly who you were, what your walk was, not what you said, not what filled her ears, not what she wanted to believe, but your actual walk, it didn't match up. And that's where she hits a crossroad. Do I stick this out just out of stubborn love, or do I throw in the towel and leave? She says he's the baby conceiver, the make me believer, the joy bringer, the love giver. She says he's the door increaser and the pleasure releaser. Well, first of all, the joy bringer, that means he must have joy in order to bring it. He can't be sitting around stewing, upset with his wife over what he perceives she's not doing or bringing to his life. So that's not joy. You can't bring joy. You don't have joy. So part of the ways of the warrior is that you need to be happy, man. All this sitting around complaining about your wife and what she's not doing, is not the way. And we talked about that in the ways of the caveman. If you haven't already, go back. There are 10 videos in the ways of the caveman. There's a playlist out there just for those videos. And there's some other videos also that are associated with the ways of the caveman. But really, at the core, they're just 10 videos, 10 chapters, 1 through 10. Go read them. Go watch them. See them, read them. Go watch them. So you have to have joy. In order to be the joy bringer, you have to have joy to bring. She says he's the joy bringer, the love giver. He's the dough increaser and the pleasure releaser. You know what? Like I said, this is almost biblical, really. Yeah, you can make this the book of Heather Hadley. Throw it into the Bible, so somewhere in in any chapter. I don't care. You just throw it in there somewhere. This is almost biblical. In order to be the pleasure releaser, everybody has joy and pleasure within them, built into them. God made you to be happy. And in order to bring the pleasure out of someone, they need to be free. They have to take the burden off. There are a lot of women now who are wives or ex-wives who don't have a lot of pleasure in their life. And somehow the pleasure is in them, but it takes a special kind of love to unlock that. And the more bad choices she makes, the more bad men she associates herself with, she have babies for, these betas and these gammas who cannot help bring the joy out of her, the pleasure out of her. It's just layers and layers of pain. And so part of what you do is, in the ways of the caveman, the ways of the warrior, and the ways of the man God, is that you lift all that pain. You lift it. You undo all of it. That is your job. And if you can't do that, then, well, once again, like I outlined in the ways of the caveman, what good are you to your wife? What good are you to the woman in your life if you can't do that for her? She says, he's the hard knocks knower without the scars to show you. The night school teacher, the good life preacher, the caretaker, the kiss graver. You can't be any of those things. First of all, the hard knocks knower without the scars to show you, that talks about bragging. Don't be walking around, with your battle scars, with your pain on your shoulder. I've gone through this, I've done that. I've sacrificed. No, that's not the ways of the caveman. That's the ways of the warrior. That's not the ways of the man God. That's not even being a good man. That's being a beta. So when I hear men complain about their wives, here's the point they don't understand. She cannot be that radiant church temple for you. She cannot be the person without blemishes, without wrinkles. She cannot be a perfect creation for you with all this blame. The Bible says that she is to be blameless. And it says that for a reason. It says it for a reason. In order for her to be your temple, your church. In order for her to help you reflect back to you what you're doing wrong. To help you see that you're not walking the path towards God. You get off that path, man, I can tell you, she can narrow in on exactly what's wrong. And she may not always articulate it the right way, but this is what women do naturally. This is part of the reason they're in your life. And this is why you should want them in your life. Understand their role is to help you become a better man. Behind every great man is a great woman. And that saying is out there for a reason, because it's true. So you can go off and do some good things by yourself, but you are 10 times better as a man with a wife. You're 10 times better as a man with children that you raise and you actively participate in their life. So let me see. The night school teacher, the good life preacher, the caretaker, the kiss craver. All good stuff. And she says, he is everything. Everything I want, and I want it. Now, what you have to tell her girlfriend? I mean, you would think this is something that would go without saying. Of course you would want a great man. A man like this, of course you would want it. But I've heard this saying from women, that some of them would rather be the king's concubine than the peasant's wife. And there's a reason why upwards of 85%, most studies I've seen, 75 to 85% of women, if given a choice between a bad guy and what they call the good guy, which is really a beta guy, they choose the bad guy. When they're going through these dating apps and then they're swiping left or right. Most of the guys who are gammas, good looking, have fun, it's the same 15 to 20% of guys that all the women on these dating apps are selecting. Most of the guys who do not get selected. And so that leaves social psychologists, people who study these trends, to somehow believe that women deep down want the bad guys. Because that's who they swipe right for. These are the guys they truly want, that supposedly good guys, which I submit to you, that the betas are not good guys. They're just absent of bad. That don't make them good. That just makes them neutral. And women overwhelmingly don't want neutral guys. Betas are divorced after 7 years at a rate of 65%. The other 35% that somehow find a way to stay married, their wives are miserable. So women definitely do not like the betas. They marry them because they're safe. They know these guys are going to go work, pay their bills, they're going to be there, they're not going to cheat. But they're not any fun whatsoever. They bring no love energy into their life. And no woman, I promise you, is thinking he is and has something good to say about a beta. They may sing a few of these verses about the gammas because they're fun. At least, they make you feel good even though they're absolute rats. These are very bad guys too, irresponsible guys, not guys that you marry, not guys that you have children for. You shouldn't. They may bring a little pleasure into your life, but that's just it, a little bit. A little bit of pleasure, a lot of pain. So let's get back to Heather and what she says about her man. And she says, and so much more than I thought it could be. This is true, revealing. That her man is so much more than she thought it could be. And you're like, well, okay, why is that? Because she's never met a man like this. I'm sure this is the first time. If it was like the second or third time, this is just the norm for her, this wouldn't even be a song. She wouldn't even have this inspiration. So somebody must have come into her life in such a profound way that transformed it. And let's hear what she says about him. She says, everything I want and I want it. Then she says, and so much more than I thought, he is so much more than I thought it could be. Then she's like, girls, I've got to be the same for him. I've got to be the same for him. I can't fake this anymore. I don't have time to be the angry wife, the angry girlfriend, angry fiance. I don't have time to be the angry baby mama. I don't have time for any of that. I've got to do for what he's bringing into my life. I've got to be the same for him. All you men sitting around here waiting for your wife to get right first before you get right shows a lack of leadership. It shows how much of a beta you are. Betas don't lead. That's part of the problem that women have with them. It's part of the problem that absolutely cuts down to the bone eventually. Eventually they like it because they can run things and they're in charge. But trust me, every relationship, every marriage I know where the wife is married to a beta, man, you can get her along and talk to her one-on-one secretly. She'll tell you just how disgusted she is, how angry that she is to have this beta in her life, just like having another child. That's how women look at it. That's how they look at you when you're a beta. It's like another child in the house that they have to deal with. They have to provide guidance to, tell what to do, get on your ass all the time. Which men say, oh man, wife is just nagging. Yeah, she's nagging you for a reason. Because you are not the man that she needs in her life. That's basically what she's telling you. She's not articulating that. She's not just coming out and telling you this because she don't want to hurt your feelings. But these course corrections, she's trying to tell you the best way she can. And eventually she gets frustrated and may not come out, she may not articulate the best way because she's frustrated. And she thought she was pairing up with a true man that she can be singing He Is about. And she ends up in, this man-child. Not a man-God, but a man-child. In addition to the other children in the damn house. Okay, so let me move on, because, I try to limit the videos, you guys know, to 30 minutes. And I've already eaten up 20 minutes on a 3-minute song, and I'm not even through the song yet. We still have a few more verses, to go through. So let me get to the end. She wraps it all up. And she says, I know exactly what he is. Bingo. She knows exactly what he is. She don't have to guess. She's not, he said one thing and he's walking a different walk. This is the man who's demonstrated himself. He's already shown her exactly what he is, and she now understands it. The light bulb goes off. That he's all these things, wonderful things that she needs in her life. And she knows this, and she wants it, and that she realizes that she got to step her game up also. This is what the ways of the caveman, the ways of the warrior, and the ways of the man God are all about. Just a few nights ago, my wife and I were having the same conversation. And she pretty much validated what I already knew and what's being covered and what I've seen. And she says, you know what, when husbands get right and really start becoming what they should be, she said, I don't care how much pain the wife is in. I promise you that the wife will get right. That, I know women carry around a lot of emotion, a lot of scars, but with the right man in her life, all those things will heal. She will become better. This is what Heather is saying in her song, He Is. She says, I've got to be the same for him. So let's get to it brings us almost to the end of the song. And so she goes back to that he's her joy bringer, which we know that you got to have some joy in order to bring joy. That he's a soul injector and the heart protector. Men, you can't be a soul injector if you're not a godly man. I wish it worked. Wish you could be a non-godly man and somehow make it work, but trust me, it doesn't. To be the soul injector, which means you've got to have something that touches her at a spiritual level. She has to be your radiant church in order for that to happen. That means the two of you are working on each other's soul internally. She's not going to be that radiant church with a bunch of scars and pains in her life. And if you can't help her get to that point, to be without blame, to be that radiant church in your life, well, you're not any good to her and she's not any good to you. So what is the point of you two just stubbornly standing together when you're not fulfilling the role that you should for the other person as husband and wife? What's the point? So if you're at this stage in your life, don't let pride interfere with going out to my website, finding my contact information. It's not that difficult. God, thejrstewart.com. I'll put the URL here in the video. Go to my website. Get my contact information. Give me a call, send me an email. Let's chat. Let's talk about it. I'm not saying I'm a miracle worker. I'm not a social psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not licensed. I'm not certified. I'm not any of that stuff. I'm not here to help you live with your pain and deal with it. I'm here to help you get rid of the pain. I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be. I'm just trying to tell you that what's outlined in the Bible for you, for husbands and wives, actually work if you give it a chance. And I just happen to know that I can sit down one-on-one with men, help coach you to get to that point. Give me a chance if you want to get there. So she says, the sole defender of anything I fear, the baby conceiver, the make me believer, the joy bringer, the love giver. He's a dough increaser, which means he works, The pleasure releaser brings the pleasure out of me, joy out of me. The hard knocks know without the scars to show you. The night school teacher, night school teacher. How many men actually, are the night school teachers? That's a reference to your children, helping with homework. That you're always feeding your brain and the brains of your family. Bring interesting facts and information. Learn something new every single day. A new vocabulary word, a new fact. Everyone becomes smarter. You talk about it. That's what the night school teacher does. That you're going to help your children and your family become just a little bit smarter every single day. She says, the caretaker, the kiss craver, he makes it all right to get you through the night. The sole defender of anything I fear. The pain remover, the bad times undoer. The joy bringer, the love giver. You know what, guys? Let me say this, and this is pretty much the end of the song. When you become the pain remover, so we talked about this. Women carry the emotions, all the scars, they remember it all. And they can pretty much remember every cut and scratch. I'm surprised that women actually live through this. It's pretty much a Chinese torture, where they're just getting 1,000 cuts, death by 1,000 cuts. And then you come along, you just add more cuts to it. Every time you promise to do something, you don't do it. Every time you violate your word. Every time you don't live up to being what she thought you were. It's another cut, another cut, another cut. And eventually this kills her. It's just torture from 1,000 cuts. And so Heather's pointing out the same thing I've said, that you've got to heal those pains. She says he is the pain remover and the bad times undoer. Guys, I don't know any other way to just say that. This song, you should play on a regular basis. Put it on your phone, download the MP3, keep it with you. And when you're wondering, wives, if you're wondering what your man should be and what he should be to you, play this song. Men, if you're wondering what you should be to your wives and you don't quite have a clue, play this song. If your wife doesn't feel this way about you, she's not your radiant temple. I can tell you that right now. If she doesn't feel this way, if you play this song together, sit down together and say, honey, am I that man to you? And if she's honest with you, she may give you some fluff service and say, oh yeah, sweetie, yeah, you that man. But deep down, guys, you know if you're that man or not. You know if you bring these elements to your wife's life. Because if she is, I promise you, she'll understand that she has to be the same for you. That she has to get right also. She can't have such a great man in her life and not be a great woman. The symbiotic relationship doesn't work that way. The two of you become great together. And y'all will go on and do great things together. Be great parents, be great husband and wife, be great friends to your friends, be great relatives to your relatives, be great employees to your employers. And you will be an asset, walking miracle blessing for God. You will gain favor with God. That's what the Bible says. You will gain favor with God. And I'm telling you, if anyone owes me a favor, I'd rather for it to come from God than anybody else. So guys, I'm out of time, and so I'm going to wrap up. Go out to my website, thejrstewart.com. The URL is flashing below the screen here. My contact information is out there. I'm available for public speaking engagements or church, for workshops, for online videos, for personal one-on-one coaching. If you want to help me out, go to my Patreon page, The Ways of the Caveman, and just subscribe. It's $5 a month. If you want my coaching service for men, wives, you can give this as a gift to your husband. But for if you want it, it's $1,000 a year, $20 a week. And I will work with you one-on-one in private to help you get to the point where you walk in the light of God, where you start off as a caveman, become a warrior, then eventually become a man God. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video. There'll be more to come, I promise you. So this is either going to be episode 2 or it's going to be volume 1 for The Ways of the Warrior. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.